This is section 12.3, surface areas of pyramids and cones. Scan the text under the Now heading. List 2 things you will learn about surface area of pyramids and cones. The first thing says how to find lateral area and surface area of pyramids. And the second says how to find lateral and surface areas of cones. So we're still covering things. We're not filling them up. Section 4 will start with volume, but for now we're talking about wrapping something, covering the whole surface. Label the following solids as right or oblique. Number 1 is standing straight up. It would be right. Number 2, also standing straight up, would be right. Number 3 looks to be leaning at an angle. It would be oblique. Match each term with its definition. A regular pyramid. It's a figure with a base that is a regular polygon, and the altitude is an endpoint at the center of the base. Remember, altitude means it's going to form a right angle. Slant height. Slant height is the height of each lateral face of a regular pyramid. It's represented by the cursive letter L. It's slanted. A pyramid, we know, comes to one point at the top, so therefore each lateral face is slanted. It has a slant height. A right cone is a figure where the axis of the cone is also the altitude, meaning it's standing straight up. If you were to draw the altitude of a right cone, it would also be the axis. We know that the axis goes from the center to the vertex of the cone, and now this one would form a right angle. An oblique cone is a figure where the axis of the cone is not the altitude. It's going to be leaning over. So the altitude, again, is where it forms the right angle, and the axis goes from the center to the vertex. If the cone is leaning over, then the segment that goes from the center to the vertex is not going to be forming a right angle. Lateral area and surface area of pyramids. So remember, the lateral area is the sum of the areas of the lateral faces. It does not include the base. The surface area covers the entire surface. It does include the base. So we have these two formulas. Lateral area is 1/2 perimeter of the base times the height. But not just the height, it's the slant height, which I said again, represented by the cursive letter L. A pyramid is slanted, it has a slant height. So if we were to plug in this formula, we would say 1/2 the perimeter of the base. Well, the base looks to be a parallelogram, so that would be 8 plus 8 plus 3 plus 3. That gives me my perimeter, times the slant height, which is 9. So plugging that into your formula, you get 99 centimeters squared. Surface area is given by this equation. 1/2 perimeter of the base times the slant height, which was the lateral area, plus capital B, or area of the base. Now the area of the base will change based off of the shape of the base. So if we have a triangle, our capital B is going to be 1/2 the base of the triangle times the height of the triangle. If we have a parallelogram, our area of the base is going to be the base of the parallelogram times the height. If we have some sort of a regular polygon, area of the base will be 1/2 apothem times perimeter. So our area formula, our capital B, will change based off of the base. Looking at this picture, the base is a parallelogram. So my surface area would be 1/2 perimeter times slant height, which was L, plus the area of the base. Well, we found the lateral area to be 99. To solve for the area of a parallelogram, we would do the base of the parallelogram times the height of the parallelogram. Solving, we get 121.4 centimeters squared. Now we have lateral area and surface area of the cones. Cones and cylinders are always easier because the shape of the base never changes. It's always a circle. Follow the steps to find the surface area of the cone. Well, the surface area has to have the lateral area first. If you notice, the difference between the lateral and surface area formula when we're dealing with a pyramid versus a prism, we added that 1/2 in there. We're going to do the same thing with a cone. So if we take half of the surface area of a cone, we're going to get the surface area of the, if we take half of the surface area of the cylinder, we're going to get the surface area of the cone. If we take half of the lateral area of the cylinder, we're going to get the lateral area of the cone. Well, lateral area for a cylinder was 2 pi r times h. Half of that would be pi r, but we're dealing with slant height, so it would be L. Surface area would be the lateral area plus the area of the base. Well, in this case, instead of having 2 pi r squares, we only have pi r squared because we only have one base. We have one circle, not two. So our surface area formula is going to be the lateral area, pi r times the slant height, plus pi r squared. It says use the Pythagorean theorem to find the slant height first. If we look here, this is 3, this is 21. So my slant height would either be here or here. It's going to be the same on either side. We could say L squared equals 21 squared plus 3 squared. So we'll have to take the square root of both sides to find what L is, and it wants us to round it to the nearest tenth. Use the formula above to find the cone's surface area. So we would say pi times the radius times the slant height plus pi times the radius squared. Go slow, plug it into your calculator, make sure you're using order of operations, so you want to deal with exponents first. Round it to the nearest centimeter, nearest whole number, 228 centimeters squared. One way to remember a new formula is to relate it to a formula you already know. How are the lateral areas of a pyramid and a cone similar? Well, if we look at them, remember we said they're both half, okay, of that prism and half of the cylinder. Pyramid is half of a prism. We go from one base to two bases, okay, and a cone is half of a cylinder. Again, cylinder has two circular bases and a cone has one, so it makes sense that there's a difference there. The other difference would be that a pyramid has a slant height, as does a cone, and a prism has a height in the formula and cylinder has height in the formula. So go back to the front page of your notes so you can fill in these formulas really quickly. So we would say lateral area for a pyramid is 1/2 the perimeter of the base times the slant height, and the surface area is the lateral area plus the area of the base, and there's only one base. So now you can see even more the similarities here. We also have cone. Lateral area was pi times r times the slant height. Okay, here we had 2 pi r times h. And surface area was the lateral area plus pi r squared, not 2 pi r squared because we only have one. So it's a little bit easier for you to understand these formulas when you see how they're kind of all connected. But again, you don't have to have them memorized, you just need to know what each of the letters represent so you can plug them in appropriately. So now you'll work on 12.3 and we'll go over questions.